Hello and good morning to the listeners of Telepathy. We are so thrilled you could join us for today's therapy session. We will be taking your credit card payment shortly.
Yeah, we actually just introduced payment
Yes.
to our podcast
Every
after
time
50.
every time we give good advice, it's just going to ask you a couple of questions on the screen there. Do
We're
non-Americans
joking, by
get
the way.
that joke? Do you know what I mean? Okay.
Probably not.
Okay, if you're not from America and haven't experienced the wonders of tip culture, basically there's this thing on a lot of devices in America that you use to pay, and after it asks you the tip question, and the person at the register is always like, it's just gonna ask you a couple of questions. So that is the context today that nobody asked for, but you received anyway. So it is going to ask you a couple of questions now because I explained that to you.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will see you next time. Yeah, okay. I don't really know
Okay,
why I
we're
started
really good
it.
at podcasting today, as you can see, but welcome to episode 63 of Telepathy. I think the reason that the vibes are off in this intro is because it's an odd number, and odd number episodes never tend to do it for me.
I think there's just something off with you in general today because it took you like it took you my length of time to think of a camp question today. And normally you're on it.
That's true. I also did just complain about many things before recording. So
True.
I wouldn't say I'm in a bad mood. I'm just a bit just stressed. Okay, anyways,
Yeah, honestly, same.
but it's okay because telepathy is therapy. So we'll get to the payment soon. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Why do I keep saying that? But okay, today's episode, we're going to be talking about growing and evolving within friendships. And I know there's a lot, it's very cliche to talk about friendship breakups and falling out and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just count how many times in an episode I've been like, so we're actually doing a very cliche topic, but it's not cliche because here's our twist to it.
No, literally every episode.
Basically, our twist today, there's no beef, there's no drama. We're just going to be talking about tension within friendships or instances where things have felt off, but you don't really know why and how to address it, and all of the above. So, welcome.
Yeah, a
Hello.
lot of the friendship podcast topics are about like the beef, but we're just so unproblematic that we've never had such negative, dramatic friendship breakups.
Don't know if I can relate to that one, but we're not starting problems today, we're solving them.
No, yeah, I was being sarcastic, but or sort of, but also like
Can
I
you
don't think
even
I
relate to
ever.
that? Can you actually
Yeah, I
relate to
don't.
that?
No, I don't think I have had like a negative. I don't. Oh, I've had it. Well, I don't know. Anyways, let's just get into the episode.
Right. Telepathy's
The
a little bit heated
icebreakers.
today. Like, I feel like we need, do we need to like,
We're just a
I'm just
bit.
kidding.
Yeah, we need to just do something else other than have a podcast.
Correct. No, I'm just kidding. Please stay. Okay, but we are going to do our telepathy traditions, aka our icebreakers, aka our camp question, where we ask a silly little question at the beginning of every episode to get to know us better and to get to know you guys better because you can answer the question on our Instagram at the telepathy pod. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
Ariana once said. Yeah.
So true.
Okay, moving on. So, camp question. Your name,
Yes.
age, and what's your favorite side dish? We've done dessert, we've done appetizer.
Hmm.
What's your favorite side dish?
Ooh, that is a good one. Okay, my name's Anna. I'm 21. Only one more episode after this of me saying I'm 21, guys. My birthday's a week from tomorrow.
Oh my
Wait, my
gosh.
birthday's a Telepathy Tuesday. That's so exciting.
We'll have to take the day off.
Um,
It's a national holiday. It's an
oh,
international holiday.
yeah. My favorite side dish is, well, okay. This is a nuanced question because it really depends on what type of restaurant you're at, you know? Like,
Correct.
because if I was at like an Italian restaurant, I would probably say like a Caesar salad or like a side Caesar salad. But in
Okay.
my opinion, today I'm at just an American restaurant that has the most basic side. Ooh, nope, I changed my mind. Okay,
Mind has been
overridden
changed.
because I
Overridden.
just thought of yeah because I just thought of my all-time favorite side dish cuisine out the window. Okay, when you're at a Mexican restaurant and they give you the refried beans and the rice that's a little bit orange.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You are absolutely
Oh my
correct.
gosh.
That is wonderful. That is delectable.
I
Indeed.
feel the same. I actually feel this almost the same way about that as I do about roasted red pepper flakes. Like
That's when you
my
know that
body,
it's intense.
yeah, my body has just suddenly been covered in goosebumps.
Absolutely. Okay. Hi, I'm Enzo. I'm 17 and right now I could do many things to a bowl of fries.
Mm,
Like they would be gone in 2 seconds at this point. I don't even want them as a side dish. I just need a bowl of fries.
in your stomach.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm so glad we had that
That's a good
discussion.
one.
So, moving on.
Fries? Well, I wanted to give my opinion on fries.
Oh, please do.
Like I love fries, but sometimes I feel like either I eat them and then I fill up and can't eat the rest of my food, or I eat my food and then I can't eat my fries because I fill up. There's not enough room for the two of them.
I feel like I have two separate stomachs, one for my main meal, and then no matter how much that fills me up, there's always room in my stomach and in my heart and in my mind for some good old French fries.
Wow, I'm so I just yawned.
The
I'm so
vibes today
happy for
are
you.
like I feel like we're in okay, you're not in a bad mood. I'm not in a bad mood either, guys. Don't get it
I'm
twisted.
not
But
well. I mean, I'm not in a bad mood. I think we're just both stressed.
right, let's get to the week recaps. But before we do that, our music and TV shout out. So I will be shouting out the
Yes. Oh
song.
shoot.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'll take really long on this so Anna can have time to find her
Yeah.
music shout out. But and I think you're gonna appreciate this shout out as well. But the song "Late to the Party" by I think
Oh
is it Orla Gardland? I'm actually
yeah.
saying that with it featuring
Or
Declan
like
McKenna.
Gartland.
Yes, featuring the one and only Declan McKenna. And I feel like us as a friend group, we move past this song way too fast because the vibes are there, the production is there, the everything is there. And that I fear is all I have to say about that song. Do I need to ramble about it anymore? Have you found yours?
It's so good. And when Declan McKenna like came in, I was like, oh, like he did such a good job.
Like the song by itself is already so good, but then Deck just added that little spice to it that just really brought the fries from just plain fries to some good old Cajun seasoned fries. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I totally know what you mean. Okay, I have my song. And it's funny, this actually made me realize that my song wasn't in my September playlist because I was looking for it and I was like, where's the song? And it
Yes.
wasn't in my September playlist. But now it is. Speaking of playlist, we add all of these songs to our telepathy playlist, which is a playlist where we add all of our songs. My brain is
Wow.
not here
No,
today.
I'm right there with you, but I love that description of that.
Yeah, anyways, to get to this playlist with all of our songs, you go to our Instagram at the Telepathy Pod. We have a little highlight section called the Telepathy Playlist. You can click that and get the link to the playlist. And on that playlist today, I'm going to be adding the song called Here's Where the Story Ends by the Sundays. Okay, it's officially fall because it did, in fact, get to the 21st. Um, and I've been in, you know, the Gilmore Girls fall
Hmm.
vibes
Yes.
song aesthetic. Like, I don't even watch Gilmore Girls, and I know that's surprising, but
I don't either. I feel like I should watch it though because
I've tried to get into it so many times. I'm gonna try again probably today. But
after this episode,
yeah, maybe I'll like it this year. That's what I say every year.
we'll
I mean,
try
I
for
don't not
22.
like it. I don't not like it. I just it takes a lot for me to get invested in a show.
No,
Like
I
it has
get
to be a
that.
really good show. But anyways, this song has the like 90s like I think they call it like jangly
Okay.
guitar, you know what I mean? So,
Yes.
anyways, here's where the story ends by the Sundays, and I've been listening to a lot of the Sundays.
Love that. Okay, so how was your week? Or how was your day? Honestly, should we just do a day recap? I feel like it's been that
Sure.
eventful.
You can go first.
That's okay. You can go first.
Oh, okay. I'll go first. Anyways, today's been fine. It's just like I've been trying to plan a trip to see Enzo's sister, Carolina, in Europa.
So true.
And like planning trips is like I it's enjoyable, but at the same time, like when will it end? Like I just we had like a perfect trip plan and then it didn't end up working out. So now we're back to sort of back to the drawing board. But anyways, and then I spent like 8 hours at school. So like in my school building, and now I'm doing homework also
We don't like that
as
at
I'm
all.
recording this episode.
Okay, okay, multitasking. She's a
Yeah,
co-host and a student.
I'm creating
Don't
like a
play.
poster as we speak, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. But anyways,
Exactly.
I will be in Europe in either November or December. I will be in many places in Europe.
Anyways, anything else to your day?
Was there? I feel like you were like hinting at something that I for no.
No, I feel like I did
No,
kind of
that's
say that in a
the
way. I was like, what else happened? But it was like,
No, I was like, wait, did something happen? No, no, I literally just spent the whole day at my school building and then simultaneously have been working on a poster and planning a trip to Europe.
yeah, we love that. Except being in the building for 8 hours, that's not
And
good.
there's no windows and it's camping themed.
Camp question.
Yes, it's so wait, you should come to SCAD and we should do a photo shoot for like season 3 or something. And
Okay.
okay, remember when we were considering doing like a camping themed photo shoot for season 2?
Guys, for the season 2 cover, we had so many ideas, and let's just say the cover that made it, I don't think was even on the drawing board. Like it kind of just
Yeah,
happened.
but if we want to do camping themed for season 3, I know a place. And guess what?
You
There's
know a
even a
place.
sign. There's even a sign in this place that says I know a place.
And we can just Photoshop it to say
So
telepathy.
meta.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, shall we get into the
Well, how was
episode?
your
Oh,
day?
wait. Guys, I'm so humble. I'm not used to talking about myself. I'm just kidding. Okay, so
Right.
my day wasn't inherently bad. It just, I don't feel good. So I woke up, went to school, obviously, and then okay, so first of all, during lunch, I went to Walgreens to pick up a poster order that I had made for my short film, and I didn't need it for today, but I just went there, and then she was like, "What was the name of the order?" I was like, "Oh, for Enzo." And she was like, "That was one of the ones that glitched and got messed up. Like, can you resubmit it?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, I can do that. That's fine. It's fine, really."
But did Oh my gosh. Wait, did they tell you that the poster was ready?
No, but like it said same day pickup, and I placed it the night before. And I went, I was
Oh,
like, just
okay, I
checking if this
see.
is ready. And then she was like, what was the name? She was like, yeah, that was one that got messed up. I was like, okay, which we
Oh
get
no.
things happen, but that was just the start. So then went to school. School is just like schooling. And I say that every episode. I'm like, guys, like senior year, senior yearing. There's just a lot going on right now. I was able to get some of my homework done in fourth period, which is nice. But then after school, I went, okay, this is kind of rambling, kind of irrelevant, but I went to the technical student association meeting because my film teacher was like, oh, you should
Oh.
go because there's like film stuff. And then I get
Wait,
there.
National Technical Honor Society?
It's similar to that, but it's like technical student association. Like it's by the same teacher.
Oh.
Like they're similar, I guess, but I
Oh.
think one is just more like service hours and one is more like competing and stuff, whatever. I get to the meeting and they're like talking about how this is great for like people interested in STEM and math and all that. And I was like, what am I doing here? Then I go to film my short film, and I just want to say I'm grateful for the people that were there and for everyone taking the time to do that. But I just like, I don't know if I'm just so anxious about college applications and I feel like I can't do anything right. But I wasn't like very happy with it. And it's kind of hard because that's just not the type of thing you can just reshoot, because with coordinating people and filming space, because we filmed in a classroom and all of that. So I'll get back to you on that one. And then I don't know why. I've just like I'm so tired and I feel like on edge and like shaky. Like I could just like run a marathon, but I also could sleep for the next 37 hours. So I'm like, what does this mean? Somebody analyze me.
No, I felt the same way. Like I was super on top of things the first this has turned into like a full-on therapy session and like not the episode idea we're talking about. But anyways,
That's fine, guys.
I've like felt this way too because like I was super on top of it the first 2 weeks of class and I hadn't even like my screen time had been 2 hours a day for the most part, which is crazy.
So good.
My dad visited and then this whole thing happened yesterday where he ended up leaving way later than expected because we got stuck in a parade.
That's so
There
random.
was a literal yeah, no, there was a literal parade in Savannah, and there were no signs like, hey, by the way, if you live on this side of the street, you're not going to be able to get to your house for about 2 hours.
That sucks.
No, no, no signs like that. So we start driving, trying to like find a way out of this parade, but we realize that we're literally surrounded. So then we drive into this KFC parking lot, and basically what happened is like we had to leave my car there, and then we started walking back to my house, which would take 30 minutes. So then we got an Uber
Yeah.
on the side that was not blocked by the parade, and then we went back to my house. And then after that, I was just kind of like on edge and like annoyed because I had work to do, and they just had to
Yeah,
have a
it's the
parade.
parade was in the way. Like, don't go rain on my parade, but literally like rain on the parade. I'm just kidding.
Like the parade rained on me.
Correct. Um,
Should we get into our
yes, the
topic?
topic. I like actually got really stumped there for a second. I was thinking, what's next? The episode. We're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
into the tofu of this episode. That is the meat alternative
Yes,
that we're
the
using to
tofu.
describe the meat of the episode today.
Mm-hmm.
But okay,
Where, so I guess where did this idea come from? I feel like that's where we always start.
this idea originated in the shower. Nobody's surprised, but I feel like there's been this thing recently, not with me specifically, but I just feel it in the air where I feel like I kind of had this epiphany and just with dealing with friendships recently where it's not even about, oh, this friend did this to me and that's why I don't feel like being as close to them anymore. There's just a lot of times where I feel like two people's paces of life are so different.
Mm.
And like, this isn't specific, but
Ooh, I have so much to talk about.
I feel like there's been friendships recently. I'm, in my senior year and college applications are stressing me out. My classes are stressing me out. And so I just feel very fast paced. And then it's hard to see other people around you moving at like a peaceful, little slower pace. But then others around you are moving at a fast pace, but in a different way. For example, wanting to spend their senior year partying and going out in the football games and all of that.
Mm.
And it's at a point where it's not FOMO. Do you know what I mean? It's just feeling like you're at a different pace of life. And
Mm.
then having like you don't
Wow.
really relate to that person as much or conversations just feel awkward or it's just not, I don't know. So that's where this idea originated from.
That's deep. That's, wow. That just like, that's so true. Like, I feel like that's something I've never been able to put my finger on, and you just put your finger on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that I could just have
That
this
was such a
epiphany
weird
for
way to
you.
say that, but yeah, yeah. Wow. Things just clicked. Anyways, yeah, that makes total sense. And I think it definitely is most noticeable around periods of change, aka high school to college,
Hmm.
and then college to outside of college. Like, I still have yet to see how that changes after college. But I feel like there were but I feel like there were a lot of like friends that we both had no intention of becoming distant. It just kind of happened. And at first, I was kind of upset about it. Like, sometimes I would miss my friends. It's not like we aren't friends anymore. It's just that our lives are so different. And also, a lot of my friends just aren't big texters. So it's hard to like stay in touch. And I can talk about this with like, I have a few types of friends that I've become more distant with. One of them, my friend, she's like my childhood friend from like, I've known her since I was like 3, and we never went to the same school. I could probably name her, like, but I'm just not
Hmm.
going to. But, anyways, like, yeah, she wouldn't care. But, anyways, like, we've never been to the same school, but we always would go to like camps and stuff together. Like, we would always kind of, we'd do stuff together, and then we'd like have play dates a lot when we were really young. But, anyways, I feel like around late high school, early college, it became to the point where I almost felt like we weren't even friends anymore. Like, we would never talk. Yeah, and then to the point where like if I did see her in person, it almost felt like I didn't even know what to talk about. But for some reason, suddenly over the past like year or two, I feel like I've gotten kind of closer to her again. Like, I don't text her all the time, but we see each other whenever we're in town, and then like we've FaceTimed a few times, which had not really happened in the past before. So I feel like sometimes the friendships can just ebb and flow, and it's never like a friendship breakup. It's just like it depends on what period of life you're in.
Right, but especially when you're an overthinker and thinking, "Oh, this person doesn't like me anymore," or your mind is just jumping to all of the conclusions, and so that's when it can kinda suck, but what I've been thinking about a lot recently is I feel like a lot of it comes down to the foundations of a friendship, and I feel like there's so many people that you become friends with through association, obviously, whether they're in your class or you participate in an extracurricular or sport or something like that, or, if you're a little bit older, maybe you just see them at your job or like you became friends through work or something. And so the second that you don't have that mutual interest or mutual activity, then you kind of stop seeing each other. And then maybe the only times that you see each other is outside of that. And you didn't get to know that person outside of,
Very true.
like, I'm just gonna use theater as an example, just so I'm not speaking in like hypothetical terms this entire episode. But if because during productions, obviously there's rehearsals every day, you become like, if you've ever done a show, whether cast or crew, I feel like that you just become really close with a lot of people because you're seeing them for so many hours and you bond over making something really cool. But then after the show is over, keeping those connections alive. And once again, I'm using theater as the
Right.
example, but I feel like this can play out in so many different
That's a good
scenarios.
example. I feel like a good example for what you're talking about could also be like a short, like a camp friendship that
Oh,
you only
yeah.
know them for like a week, and you're like, we're gonna try to like still be so close as we were at camp, and then it just never ends up that way,
Right.
except in rare cases.
So then it's kind of hard because let's say you've never had a class with somebody and you've done theater with them throughout all these years, and the only time you see them is during productions and you're all really close. And then let's say you do have a class with each other, or maybe you start
Hmm.
eating lunch together or something like that. And so then things feel kind of off because now you have to talk about other things and you're sort of learning how to
Hmm.
understand a new dynamic with somebody, even though it's like you feel like you know them super well because, you've been really close with them during different times in different places. But it's almost like when you remove the setting that you're used to, then suddenly you don't know what to do.
Mm-mm. Oh my gosh, wait. I This isn't like a great example because it actually worked out pretty well, but
Mhm.
like I have a group of friends that I traveled with, like my main group of friends from study abroad. It was like 7 of us. So we hung out like every day. We traveled together in Europe, and now we have hung out a few times like back here, and it's been totally fine. Like it hasn't actually been like what you were describing. Except like when I first saw them for the first time, it almost was like not awkward, but like you have to be like, wait, what do we talk about now that we can't talk about like what trip we're gonna
Literally.
plan next or stuff like that. So it's like slightly weird, but still luckily it all worked out to where it's not like camp where I was worried that it would be like camp or like we would just drift apart, but I feel like right now we've still been seeing each other a good amount. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Right. And sometimes it's weird because, I mean, not like this specific scenario, but it's like we've been on top of the Eiffel Tower together. We've stayed in hotel rooms together. You've slept in my bed, and now we're getting coffee and it's awkward. Like the math isn't
Yeah, like
mathing.
I no, yeah, like I've seen some of them like at their very worst, like
Right.
like oh my
So I
gosh.
guess this now
And
poses a really
yeah.
weird question of, how beneficial is it to become friends with somebody through association? And obviously that's not a bad thing. It shouldn't be a bad thing, but it's like, how do you grow a friendship from just traveling together
Yeah.
and doing this? Because it's so weird. I feel like a lot of friendships or even relationships, you get to know each other kind of from the ground up. You start from the awkward coffee interactions or something.
Yeah, technically everything starts from association or,
Right.
you know.
But it's like
Like
the traditional path, if you get coffee together and then you start, I don't know, hanging out with each other on weekends or having nights in together.
mhm.
And then a few months later, now you're traveling together, and traveling together is like that big moment in your friendship or relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then in different scenarios, and obviously this isn't just pertaining to studying abroad and all of that, but if you start at the
Right.
traveling together, how do then it's almost like
Yeah.
you're going in a different order. And that can be for so many different
Yeah.
things.
I can relate to that in more ways than one.
Yes.
But also, I wanted to mention when you're obviously talking about like the friends by association thing, I've heard the topic a lot brought up of like your school friends. So they're school or like class friends or like school friends versus out of school friends.
Hmm.
And these are people like for example, if you sit next to them in class, you might be like best class friends or whatever. But there's some of those people that you would never hang out with outside of class. Not that you don't want to, but just that, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. But then I feel like that scary thing happens where you do hang out and you're like, maybe that's why we weren't friends before, because we don't have anything in common, or I don't know. Like I feel like that happens.
I feel like this happened a few times last year. I had some, like, acquaintances where I was like, are we going to be outside of school friends or just school friends? And some of them have become outside of school friends. But it's also like the type of thing. It's kind of like if you think about if you're having a birthday party, like who are you going to invite to your birthday party?
Yeah.
And are you going to invite like the person you sit next to in class when you've only talked in
But it's
class?
like they're still a part of your life, but how do you establish like how do you establish, is this person a friend, or do I just really enjoy talking to them, And it's not that you have to put a label on it, obviously, but
Yeah. Yeah. There's also you mentioned earlier the thing about like think worrying like if your friend doesn't like you anymore if you've started to drift apart. Which like I had this friend, my best friend in high school that went to my school. We both have just kind of like drifted apart and I think I saw her once over the first break back from college. I visited her at college once. Then, and she's just like not much of a texter. So whenever I would ask to hang out, half of the time, like she wouldn't respond or like stuff like that. And then eventually I just stopped reaching out because there's that thing of like, how long are you going to reach out first? And
mhm.
then if you stop reaching out, like seeing how long it takes for that person to reach back out is weird. Like I don't even know if she would reach out to me if I never texted her again. But
And that's
like
like always a terrifying
I
thought.
know. And when I do text her, I texted her a few months ago because I genuinely like wanted to know what she was doing over the summer and I just wanted to see how she was. And then we had planned to see each other back home in September. Then we were actually going to see each other finally for the first time in forever. And then she ended up, I think she got COVID and then she realized that she just had a lot to pack for her because she's going to study abroad this
Mhm.
semester. So then she was like, actually, I can't hang out after all. And I was like, it's okay. Like, at least we tried. So I don't know. Like, I don't even know when the next time I'll see her is.
Yeah, that always sucks. But another thing that I was thinking of is I feel like I've had friendships also in the past where we never just start off as friends. It feels like one day we don't know each other and the next day we're best friends.
Yeah.
And obviously there's some people it's just like you are meant to be in each other's lives for a very long time, and it just something clicked automatically. But I feel like there's other times where you kind of become really close with somebody really quickly. And obviously there are scenarios where this
Mm-hmm.
works, but I feel like there's other times where it kind of gets messy, and then it's like you're best friends, but you still have to build the foundation together at some point.
Mm.
And that becomes messy when you've only ever thought of them as your best friend.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
don't know
like,
if I've ever
what was it
really
like when we were
had
just friends?
this situation because my real best friend, my like best friend is Carolina, your sister, who we literally started becoming friends in like kindergarten. Like I don't even remember
Yeah.
how like how did me and Carolina become friends, you know? Did we just decide to play together one day at recess and then now like it's just weird. Like I don't
Right.
remember the logistics of the like first few weeks of knowing her or whatever. And then a lot of my other close friends in high school or
Hmm.
sorry, in college a lot of them started out as roommates or stuff like that. And then like my high school, I guess my one friend I was referencing earlier from high school, she was kind of that person where suddenly we were like best friends and we, yeah, I don't really know how that happened.
Yeah, because there was a specific situation where I feel like I was very, very, very close to somebody and we became very close very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then there sort of was a falling out, which I know we're not talking about like falling outs today, but there was a falling out. And then after some time had passed and we were both in a place to revisit that, it was almost like we became best friends immediately again. But I feel like I learned quickly that maybe there's some people that, you don't have to never see each other again,
Right.
but you just don't need to be super close because it's probably not beneficial for either. So if you find, and this comes to with establishing boundaries and everything too, but if you get to a point where you can be civil, you can be friends, but you can both learn that we just can't be, you can't be my number one person, I can't be your number one person because it hasn't worked, it doesn't work, and it's not gonna work.
It sounds like La La Land Friendship Edition.
Literally, that's why every time I listen to some sort of romantic song, I just take it on a platonic level and it hits twice as hard. No,
Oh,
maybe like 100 times harder because relationships, what are those? You know what I mean?
I need to try that. I just don't listen to song lyrics in general.
Wait, that's kind of real. So, like,
No,
sometimes I'll be singing along to a song and I'm like, I've heard this song a million times, cannot tell you more than 5 words of it.
no, literally. Like, that's the story of my life. Yeah, that is, wait. I feel like if we applied La La Land to friendships, we could get to our epiphany moment. Do you know what I'm
I
saying? I feel
know,
like
but
we're onto
they did
something.
completely split paths. Well, their paths crossed again, and that was what was romantic about it, but I don't know. Okay, we need to get into our we attended the therapy session, now we need to be the therapist because I feel like I've just had a whole yap fest, and now I need to give the advice, and
Well, I think, yeah, well, sorry, what?
no, that was all I had to say, I kinda just don't stop talking.
I think it's kind of true what you said. Like, you don't have to be each other's number one best friend. I feel like that's the good advice is that it is kind of the La La Land situation. It's not the La La Land situation of never seeing each other again, but it's the La La Land situation of like, we can't be each other's number one person.
Right, and I feel like you just have to establish that through conversation, and it's also something that you yourself have to realize because there's been so many instances where I've been like, "This can work, I want to make this work," but then it's, like, constantly feeling like, I don't know, a backup option or just not feeling like your energy is being reciprocated in a friendship, and
Yeah,
so you kinda have to put your foot down and say, "You know I love you and I always will, but we just can't we need to grow as other people, and that doesn't mean that or, like, grow as our own individual human beings, but that doesn't mean we
right.
never have to see each other again, or we can't see each other, or we can't catch up from time to time. We just can't be hanging out every weekend, and I can't be the only person that you're texting and vice versa because
Yeah.
it doesn't work."
Yeah. I think that's basically what happened with my friend from high school is like, I feel like I kept putting in the energy to keep up the friendship, but she didn't. And I knew that she had good intentions, but I was also like, I mean, once you get to a certain point, you can't just keep putting in that energy.
Right, and I feel like texting has made this so much worse because
We could have a
and
whole
this is
episode about
embarrassing to admit, but
texting.
there's some people that I'm way more comfortable with over text, and then we hang out in person, and it's kinda like, "What do we talk about?"
Yeah.
It's like you don't know how the dynamic exists outside of text messages, and that sounds so bad and Gen Z coded, but I don't know, there's some people that wanna hang out with in person. I don't know, it's like maybe we don't have anything in common, or maybe it's just I feel like I'm holding back or something in person as opposed to text. I feel like I can be more myself or vice versa. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like we could talk so much about texting because there's also, I don't remember who I was having this conversation with. Might have been my mom. Basically, like, texting is so, it might have been you actually. I don't even know. Anyways,
It was probably my dad also. Do you
yeah, well,
remember?
yeah, I was gonna get into that because basically, like, before texting was a thing, texting is so new that I feel like a lot of people like me, okay, for example, I need to like put this in more literal terms. So I am like a very avid texter, and I don't want to be somebody who's constantly texting. Like, I don't identify as that. But I'm the type of person, I think it's just like communication is very important to me. And communication is such a big thing to me that if I'm texting someone that I'm not like in person with, I want to make sure that I respond as soon as possible because I want them to know the response as soon as possible, or like just to know that I care, like, that I watched their
Hmm.
Instagram reel or whatever. The other spectrum is that there's people who just like don't like texting or just don't identify with texting and it's like not important for them. Like my brother, for example, you could text him like, "Hey, I have this important question that needs to be answered right now," and he'll go like 3 days without responding. And I feel like I feel like
Right.
it's like a lot of guys do that. A lot of guys just like don't care about texting. But
Honestly.
like it's such a brother thing. Like so many of my friends' brothers are like, "Oh yeah, they don't do that." But anyways, opposites attract because like I feel like all of my friends are bad at texting. And I'm not blaming them. I'm not being like, "Oh, they're so bad at texting." I just totally understand that it's like a different type of person. But then it's like where do you draw the line between like being like they're not putting in the energy into this relationship or they just don't identify with texting?
Right. Especially when, I mean, it kind of sucks because we live in a generation where it's cut, and this sounds corny, but it really is a mind game because there's so many people that, when I'm with them, it's like they're on their phone, they check their phone, but then when they take so long to respond, it's hard not to be like,
Yeah.
oh, because I mean, the way I see it is when I text somebody, like I am a notification on their phone. And so by not answering it, you're literally just dismissing
Yeah.
like the notification. And that's not how it works. Some people just go on their phone to check one thing and they don't check their text, whatever. And that's fine and completely normal. But it's hard because I really do think that nowadays it's hard not to define a relationship based on how much you text somebody.
Yeah.
Like I would say my best friend Lily, like we don't do we text that much? Okay, we'll go a lot of times where we don't text a lot, but we see each other in person a lot. But just with a lot of friendships, it's hard because you text somebody so much, but then maybe you don't even see them in person that much. And so it's hard to kind of, not in like a friendship ranking kind of way, but it's hard to establish how they exist in your life and what it means for you. Because when you're just texting them, it's kind of not just a mindless thing, but it's definitely not like in person social interaction, obviously.
Right.
So it's hard to kind of see the status of a friendship and judge a status based on how often you text each other.
Right.
And then there are people, it's like I feel like I text a lot, but then they never ask me to do anything or something like that. And then of course I take it personally, but then that's not always the case. So I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's also like you have the like Instagram shows you like when they were last active or like thank goodness iMessage doesn't do this.
Oh, I have my red
But
receipts
like what
off.
but like well yeah, the red receipts. But then also like thank goodness iMessage doesn't do this, but like WhatsApp tells you like when they were last active and that's that's been something I've had
What's up?
to deal with. Yeah, anyways, like, okay, like I love that feature, but at the same time that's so
No. And I
bad.
have it
Like
turned off
that
because,
just makes it worse.
and I think about the fact that I have it turned off because I don't want somebody seeing that because I don't want there to ever be a scenario where they think that I'm ignoring them or I don't care about what
Mhm.
they have to say. Because there are instances where I don't have time to respond to something, or sometimes there's just something that I want to put a little bit more thought into responding, but
Yeah.
I don't have the time for it. And it's never something personal. So I don't know why when it happens to me, suddenly I'm convinced that somebody doesn't like me anymore. They don't want to ever speak to me again. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, that's not what's happening.
I think it's I've put a lot of thought into this recently, and I think it's hard to understand, but I feel like it's literally just two totally different types of people. It's
Hmm.
almost like how you can't understand how somebody who has a different opinion than you could have that opinion, you know? Like say like political opinion. Like you can't even understand like how
Yeah.
somebody could have a different opinion than you. It's like a personality opinion. Like for some reason something in this type of person's brain sees a notification and doesn't get the same type of like
Or
serotonin boost as
dopamine.
you might.
Dopamine detox.
Dopamine, yeah, literally. Like if I get a text from a friend, usually I'm just like, oh my gosh, like somebody texted me. And maybe this could even go back to like subconscious psychology, like, or what's the word? Like how you're raised, like nature versus nurture, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like maybe subconsciously I get so excited and oh, it's also like the anxious the attachment styles. I think maybe I'm the type of person that growing up I felt like I didn't ever have like friends that were stable. So now when I get a text from a friend, it's like, "Oh my gosh, this person's giving me attention." No matter who it
Like you have
is.
to keep it alive. Like you have to like hold something together.
Yeah. And like I don't feel that. I don't feel like when you text me like what time are we recording the podcast today? I don't feel like I have to keep it alive.
Our podcast
But
is gonna die.
subconsciously, but subconsciously maybe that is what my brain is thinking. Like my brain is thinking like I need to respond. I want to respond right away. It could also be like the me wanting to give somebody the attention like I didn't have growing up or something like
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like me wanting to make sure that people know that I care about them and that I'm going to respond to their text right away because maybe I didn't have that as much like with my friends growing up, something like that. Whereas the other type of person who sees a text and doesn't need to respond right away, maybe they just subconsciously don't have that situation, you know?
Yeah. I feel like enough time has passed to talk about this without being too embarrassed. But so my freshman year, I had a friendship and it was probably a little bit toxic because when they would text, the amount of dopamine sent to my brain, like I don't know if I just have like attachment issues or what was going on, or just like a clingy personality, or I have no idea what's going on. But I had a
I
specific,
think this literally could be what it is. Like
yeah,
this makes so much sense to me now.
I had a specific set of emojis for their contact name and a specific picture for them. And like every time that would pop up, I would get so much dopamine. And then,
It's the type of thing like when you see the I saw this post this one time about this. Like
mhm,
I did not think of this myself, guys. When you see the shape of their name on your phone, or
yes,
if you see a shape that's remotely a similar length, and you think it's them.
right. And so that would happen where like even somebody with the same initial would text and I'd be like, oh, I would get like really excited.
Yes.
And then this person kind of, stopped talking to me as much. And it got to a point where it wasn't even just excitement when they texted. It was kind of a relief, like, thank God, like they didn't forget about me. And so at a certain point,
Yes.
I,
Gosh, I relate
like
to
a
this
lot of
too
stuff
much.
happened and we had to talk through this and stuff, but I had to literally change their contact name and their picture. So I would stop associating their name with like
Wait.
how they existed in my life in during a specific time, because I feel like it was because this person was there for me during like a rough time. And so kind of it was literally therapy when they texted. And so I had to get to a point where I changed the name just to acknowledge this person as like just okay, my friend, and not this thing where it was almost like I looked up to this person so much, but they didn't feel the same way about me. So it kind of sucked. But I literally had to change the
Wow.
contact name to like make myself think like a normal fucking human being.
That's so interesting. That's that was smart of you to think that it was even like that's like honestly kind of genius that it was like you realized that it was like the way that their contact even looked that was
I don't even know. I think
causing
that was
this
just
like
like a last
Pavlov dog
resort. And
response?
I don't know what was going on or if like attachment issues, if it was butterflies. Like, I don't know what happened, but that was just something so weird. And I feel like we're deep enough into the episode to where I can talk about that comfortably. And it's like, see, the thing is, I'm glad. I think if this person was listening, they would text me and be like, bitch, I know this is about me. And then FaceTime me and laugh about it. Which I honestly love that. I love that growth. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of weird.
This is so interesting. This is giving me a lot to think about. But yeah, if I was like a psychology major, I think I would write my like thesis on the phenomenon of texting and how it's not for everyone,
Hmm.
but why is it not for everyone? Like why doesn't everyone feel this way when they get a text?
I know, and it sucks. And I feel like it's the same way how in
Like that.
person you have to adapt and adjust and learn somebody's quirks and personalities that maybe don't align with yours. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in each other's lives. It's just something that you have to work around. And it's really, that's how friendships become stronger. Um,
And that's why communication is important. If it's not, face to face communication, not necessarily text communication. Like, that's why it's important to just be like, I care about you. I just don't identify with, like, I just am not uh, texting the way that you are.
I think that my main final piece of advice is that it's more about the introspection of it because I think our brains tend to want to think externally in terms of if somebody's not texting you, it's kind of like, oh, well, what are you doing instead? Or do you not like me? Or thinking how they perceive you. But instead, look within and just kind of ask yourself, am I attached to this person? Like, what's going on? Like, why do I feel this way? Do I feel like the energy's not being reciprocated? And if you kind of come to the conclusion that's like, we need to talk about this in person conversation all the way, because I think sometimes when you get stuck in these, it's not even online friendships, but it's just when a friendship becomes so text heavy or FaceTime heavy or just social media heavy, you need to keep the authentic human interaction and connection alive. Not that you can't have online friends. I
Right.
see, like, I don't even know. Like, I'm not trying to, like, I don't know what I'm saying, but I hope somebody is
Yeah.
picking up what I'm putting
And
down.
then it's like when you do have an online friend, that's such an interesting thing to me, like an online friend. Like, I mean, I guess I have online friends, but like
Us
how
recording this podcast online right now.
literally, I don't know. Online friends are just such an interesting phenomenon because like what differentiates what how do you yeah, anyways, how do you just like stay friends? Like what are you doing that creates this friendship?
Yeah,
And and that's especially for people who meet online and maintain the online friendship. Like that's just so interesting to me.
I don't know. I feel like I'm one extreme or the other. I either will respond within zero point 0.5 seconds or I will take 2 days to respond. And I'll feel bad about it. I just sometimes I almost like get anxious when somebody texts me. So I'm like, oh my God, I need to wait. And then I wait too long. So I've definitely seen both ends of the spectrum. And I don't
But yeah,
know.
it's like one of my friends from high school, who's still very much my friend, but also very much just not a texter. She has said before, like, texting stresses her out. And I've never understood that, but like, I totally get that that's just like, I just can't understand that for myself, but like, I know that that's just like something that people feel.
Exactly. And I feel like sometimes somebody's in person communication style is not always going to align with their texting style, obviously. So if your friend, when you hang out, they're super talkative and literally cannot shut up, but then you text them and it's like crickets, it's not always something to take personally, obviously. And so I feel like learning
See,
to
see.
understand that and be okay with that without jumping to crazy conclusions. Also, but listen to your intuition, guys. Like, let me always say that. But yeah, that was my final thought. This episode definitely took a turn in different directions, but it's what it's what was needed today, if I'm gonna be so honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, those were our final thoughts, I suppose. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I was gonna say if you did, give it a thumbs up, but wrong platform. Well, maybe if you're listening on YouTube or something, but yeah, you can rate us, review us, follow us on different streaming platforms depending on which one you're into. But you can also follow us on Instagram at the Telepathy Pod just for more updates, and we do some fun things on the stories. So if you want to keep up with us, the option is there for you. But yeah.
Yes, we'll see you next week with another
Well, yeah.
episode next Tuesday, which will be my birthday.
Next Tuesday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.